Hello there. Yes, I'm that guy, Vinny Luciani. Hi. So I got here and I started setting up, and this guy tells me, yes, can I videotape it? Oh, okay, if you really want to. And then he said, do you want a copy? I thought, oh, I can make copies. He says, do you mind being on YouTube? I'm like, holy cow! So I figured I'd comb my hair before we wind up on YouTube. I'd like to take a look. I figured, let me preface by saying that I'm not a professional demonstrator. I like to approach what I demo as more of a conversation. All right. So if you have anything, just blurt it out. Say, Vinny, what's this? What's that? Okay. Because I don't have a tried and true dialogue that I go through every other week. You know what I mean? Okay. So I think I'll go over to the table and just show you a little bit. I guess most of you have been through and taken a look at a few things here, and there may be questions, involved with some of the stuff. We're going to make a box tonight. I bet a lot of us have made boxes, some of us haven't, but there may be other questions too. We talked about maybe doing the ribbon video, but we're going to do the boxes. But if you have questions about this, I can go through the process, surface real quick and give you an idea. At least you can get a start, and you can try it out if you like. Okay. We can talk a little bit about ornamentation. I understand you guys are going to have a complete demonstration about that now, right? On ornamentation. But I can go over a few little tools that I use to do that also, if you'd like. And this is a neat little thing that actually sells pretty well at shows, I find that if anybody here does shows, I find that, that $20 to $50 mark is really, really good. That's your bread and butter. And once in a while you sell something, for more, and that's always nice. But I wind up selling a lot of these little things, and they're kind of cool because they involve a little bit of steam bending. Use a microwave to do that. And they go pretty quick. I mean, you can make one in 15 minutes or 20 minutes, tops. And you can just about get your return on it. I'm curious, how many, yeah?
Is that green wood?
Yeah, it's a good point. This is scrub oak, and there's so much scrub oak. So I started making little trees out of scrub oak, and these things. And I don't know what else I can do, maybe a few things. But you're right, it's a little bit green. And after I microwave it, and I bend it the way I want, the microwaving is great for pushing the water out of the wood, whereas if you lay it around to dry, it takes a long time, but it will actually push it out in a little piece of wood like this, and you're ready for finishing in short order.
What sort of settings is it on?
This is, right before it burns. Alright, so that's, yeah. You want to use a microwave that you go get from like Goodwill or something. And I have one in the shop just dedicated for this kind of thing. And once in a while you burn them. Quickly, the process is after I turn the thing and I parted it off and ready to do it, is just wet or wrap it with a paper towel and wet the paper towel and put it and then go ahead and go for it. And it's just a few minutes. And take it out, and you'll feel it when it starts to move, and it'll be a little bit pliable, again, just before it burns, and the water will keep it from doing that for the most part. And it's very hot, and so you need to use some kind of protection to do it, and then just go for it. And try not to break it. Hold it there for a little bit, cool it off, or let it cool, and here you got this thing. At that point, just a little finish sanding, and you're good to go. I don't bother oiling these. I just spray with lacquer and they're off down the road. I like to carve. And I don't know what to say about that except it intrigued me. I was a flat worker, for my whole life. My dad was learned in Italy, and he had a furniture making shop in New York and Long Island where I grew up, and I grew up doing this, you know. And I moved out here to Colorado and started working in cabinet shops. And then I had my own shop, which was furniture restoration, and I did a lot of antiques and a lot of spindle work. Well, a lot, you know, but I had to do videos and replace parts for chairs and things like that. And sort of self-taught myself to turn and do those kinds of things. And after I got out of that and sold it, or if I didn't sell it, I wound up with nothing. I closed it. Not a great business person, but I can sand a piece of wood, right? So I was always intrigued by this kind of thing. I didn't realize how intrigued I was until I closed the shop and I realized that the lathe was the thing that I enjoyed the most. You know, it was the most fun. I used to stay after, you know, at the shop and just turn ornaments or something. And so I thought, these things that people make, when they go inside their hollow, it's ridiculous. Why would they do that? It pissed me off because I didn't know how to do it. You know, it was a mystery to me. And so the first ones I did, I swear I had to recover for days because I was battling that thing and shoving the tool in there, you know, and it was catching, you know, and it was nasty. But I wanted to know. I was very curious. And when I joined the club in Colorado Springs, those big woodturners, that's when I started to learn stuff. You know, it was great. The clubs are great. You know, how many here are like consider yourselves beginner turners? Oh, right. Excellent, excellent. Hey, you did a good thing. You know, there's great networking, great stuff. And what I found out is anything you want to know, it's online, man. If you really want, I mean, if you don't have to wait for every meeting. It's crazy. If you have a question, just type it up, and I swear it's almost all covered in YouTube demos or articles. So if you're really curious, you can find out. What I found out about carving is that it just takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time, and there's no real easy way. Even though we have all these burrs that we use, I use burrs, you know. So here's one that I started, right? And I did these two, and I got to this point, I was like, I lost my steam, you know. I think I'll play guitar for a while. You know, because it's just, but I like the process. It's intriguing to me in that you're doing it and it looks like you should throw it away. It looks like this is not going to work out. They're really discouraged. This is not going to work out. It's stupid. What I'm doing here is stupid. And keep going, you know, keep sanding, keep going, and the hours go by, and suddenly you realize that you're done. It's really neat for me. I think it's cool. It's addicting to me. Anyway, if you have any questions about the way I ornament these things, yes?
Microwave dry. One way to stop from this is experimenting with different types of wood. You put it in for a little while, and if it's too hot to hold, you have to back off your time.
Yeah.
It can't be too hot to hold. Once it's too hot to hold, you have to let it cool off.
You know, I had this happen to me. I make trees also. You know, a lot of us make trees. I make trees. And I was doing the same thing. It was wet. I microwaved it, put it down. It was smoking a little bit. Okay. So I'm working. You know, the place is getting smoky. And it was burning inside the tree where you couldn't see it. It was burning inside there, you know. And it was, I could have caused a real problem for myself if I had left. So, yeah, that's something you want to be careful about. I wish, you know, I'm not the greatest teacher, and I'll tell you why. Because like I tried teaching guitar, I tried doing this. I want to go through everything the first one, everything right now. You know, I want to tell you exactly how to do this right now. But we're going to do a box, and we're going to do a box. But I really do want to. You know what? Let's do the box. We have some time. We'll come back. How's that?
Yeah.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. The worst part about carving, I got to tell you this, because I'm so proud of myself. The worst part about carving is the sanding, right? and you know, these grooves, and I go, how can I? You know, when you do it for a while, your fingers hurt, your time's going by, you're going, this is like sanding wood. It's taking forever. It's killing me. And I thought of this for a long time. A long time, reciprocal, right? And I'm like, there's gotta be a way. Because you want to sand with the grain, right? You don't want to, you can put something that spins in the grain, but you're still gonna want to go like this, right? I found a chuck online that fits in this, right? And it attaches to this, and then I put a piece of nylon hose in it, and some Velcro. And this thing is awesome. It's an inline sander, and it bends. And I can go through all those contours, and now you know my big secret, my new product. I'll be like Trent Bosch, you know, I'll have all these products. Anyway, I'm so proud of myself. All right, enough talk, right? You want to see make some mess. This is the kind of box I'm going to make. The idea of it, you can make any shape you want. You know, the process is the same. I'm going to pass that around. This is I brought this one because this is what's that wood that starts with a Z? Turquoise? Is that how you say it? Turquoise? Whatever? So that's what this is, and it's so adorable. And, you know, if I give it to especially a lady, they just love it, you know. What I found is that it takes about the same amount of time as a box that big, or a big box. It's the same number of steps, you know, so it's kind of cool. But as far as selling them, I don't know, how can I charge the same for this little one as I can for the big one? But anyway, I just want to point that out for you. I'm not going to send it around for someone, you know, I might not come back. All right, let's do a little bit of time. Boxes. The most important thing with boxes is that is to have a piece of stable wood. You know, a lot of you have turned boxes, and how many of you have had a box that became one piece again when you were and you could not open it, right? It's no longer a lid. It becomes a rabbit. That is a rabbit joint. You know, it'll swell or shrink or whatever. So it's paramount that the wood you're using is stable and dry, so that your snap fit, snug fit, whatever it is going to remain like that. So today I did not bring my what do you call that one? The
Screw?
Yeah, that. But that's okay. I think we can do this way.
We got one here.
You got one?
Oh, I'm sorry, I dropped it. You want this? You want
Yeah, I'm trying. That's good. I'm going to try to save time and just stick it in there and see if it works out. Does anybody else do this?
Yeah.
Oh, you cheat too, don't you? I'm going to just eye it, you know. It's not required that I measure this perfectly. I mean, I learned a long time ago, I don't know, I told myself that if I don't trust my eye now and then, I'll never develop it. So I started doing that. But it's close enough, it really is. So I bought this piece of wood this morning from Woodcraft down in Colorado Springs. It's hard to buy wood, you know, because, you know, we're used to getting logs into the iron. You know, we gather wood. You know, we're driving down the street, but what do you see? Trees. Your wife's like, what? It's a dead tree. You get so excited. I'm like really excited, you know. Mark that down. Did you see that? It's a dead tree. I have the yes dear. Nice. You know, wood has become something that it's like gold now. I'm old enough to remember when wood was, you buy a piece of wood, it's not gonna break the bank, right? There's a piece of, what is it, 3x3 or so, walnut over here. It's $100. It's this big. Now, I don't know how many of you realize that in Canyon City, they have that bug down there, and it killed all of their walnut trees. There's walnut everywhere. You know, so if you look around, you know, $100, man. All right, I'm going to rough this piece of wood, and I wear a glove. I'm not going to make a big stink about it, but as some of you know, so I play guitar. It's one of my things. My left hand. I've been a woodworker all these years, and I still have them all. And I ain't going to lose it tonight, you know? I hope. Not in front of you all, at least. Very often, this is a little bit loose, and I have to remind myself. Sometimes I don't tighten it enough. Get a little bit more than that. I remember seeing Stuart Mortimer when I first started, and he always did this. He ran this down, and he scored it like this, and then he would go back and do this. Does anybody know why he did that?
Yeah,
Do you?
I know why, because that breaks it so you don't get slivers. I got a
Slivers?
mark right here that was done.
All right. So it's true, if you start back here maybe, you can wind up with long slivers. And, all right. I got it cocked against me a little bit, you know. It really does make a big difference. You're out here like this, you really don't have much control, it fights you, only against your body. You've heard this many times, I'm sure many of you have, but all kinds of more control. You just rough it down, it's shaped like this, you can go both ways. So when it comes to boxes, I really am tempted to buy wood because it's stable, you know? Mostly.
You got the box here.
This is maple. Nothing fancy about it. Alright, that's that. For some reason, I tend to, I just do it just for practice. After I've roughed it, I always take the skew and just see if I can shave it, just because it's cool. And it gives me a chance to lay that out. The skew is one of those things where if you don't practice, it'll bite you. And I gotta tell you, lately I've been, I haven't turned a whole lot these past few weeks, and so it's good to do this because I find that I do get rusty. All right, I'm going to make a little dovetail here so we can grab on there. Just gonna buy this. I approximated. Luckily, this is not metal work where I have to be so, you know, meets my kilometers and stuff. This is close enough. That's going to work for me. Let's see. Now I'm looking at the body, the cap, and a little bit more. This is plenty. I should make another one because I've been known to make mistakes at demos. Anybody see my demo in the Funio in Denver a year or two ago? There comes a point where you need to cut off the negative space, you know, in that ribbon. And I cut off the positive space. Everybody got a real kick out of it, except for me. So, I'm not going to test fate. I'm just going to cut this off. This one. Okay, doesn't work. Okay. So that's a pawn shop. I've got a lot of my tools from the pawn shop. One of the funnest things for me, and this is yours, brother, in turning was in the beginning trying to assemble the tools that I couldn't afford nor really knew what to get. So I wound up at brainstorming all the time, winding up at pawn shops or just making them. How many people have ever made their own tool? Yeah, right on. Yeah, we're going to get to that too. I bet they look something like this, right? Hey, this is a popular tool. These are really popular. And I love the way these work. And I made a whole bunch of different sizes, Except when I wanted to get deep like that one, the big tall ones, I went online and I found out that there's a guy who makes these things. And it makes them real nice, right? Look at the size of this thing. It's 1 inch. It's heavy as hell. You want to see this? You want to pass it around? It's kind of weird. But look at this. So it's a spring, right? It arrives and you set the wall when you get to that point that you want. And a simple spring, it works fine. For me, I didn't really need a TV or a laser. I did make one with a laser. But this is simple and it works fine. I'm not, it doesn't have to be, so precise for me. Anyway, I like this tool. It's made by a guy named Crabtree. He's got a bunch of different sizes. And this thing got me there deep enough without too much battle. I can get my elbow on it. And you could capture this if you wanted, right? And it cost under $300, or just like $270 or so. Good price. All right, I'm just going to take this, clear this rubby thing off of here. A little too high. And now I'm going to cut this into top and bottom. Okay. And we've all heard, you got it hanging off this thing with just a little dovetail. It's nice to support it. Whenever you can support, go ahead and do it. And you'll learn to do that once a few pieces fly off. And that's when you really remember. Okay, I need to also make a dovetail here, so I'm going to cut this top. Now, let me see, I'll put that on there. Okay, now I'm going to plunge this This is going to be the tongue, okay, the male. Now, I'm considering the shape of this box at this point. If I'm going to make something like this, I've got to think about how deep that needs to be in order to accommodate that shape. Does that make sense? This box is going to be like this, so I got to remember about that curve. So I'm going to plunge this pretty deep to allow for a nice curve for the bottom. Okay? I'm trying to make that as square as I can. And I also like to put a little bead right here. It kind of confuses the eye a little bit and makes it a little bit more mobility. And so I've got to accommodate for that right now. Any questions? Is this making sense? So, that's going to be the beam. Okay. That's going to be the tongue. And now, I can cut off the top. I really want one of these with a long handle. Anybody else struggle with these? Every time I plunge with these, it's this little teeny handle, and I gotta fight it a little bit. Does anybody else have one of these? Say what? Is that right? He's got a longer. I keep trying to, I should make one, but getting lazy. Yeah. Since it's not flared and it's not a diamond-shaped parting tool, it tends to grab when you beat, unless you widen the cut. And that's one of the things I like about that tool. Come on, man. There goes that tooth. All right, now I'm going to start to rough out the shape of the body here a little bit. Not to final it, but I'm just going to start. I think for me, it was really important to not be afraid to make mistakes. In my first few years of turning, I made it a conscious effort to make as many mistakes as I could, if that makes sense. Try as many things as I could, because I wanted to make all my mistakes in the beginning. I don't want to be stuck making those same mistakes later on. Does that make sense? It did for me, that's what it did. I still make mistakes. Regardless. Any questions about what's going on? It always strikes me when I do a demo that wood turning is like it's an individual sport. You're not used to having people watch you turn, right? When you're working, you're all alone in your shop. It's a very personal kind of thing. And I always find that talking when I'm turning, it's just really strange to me. This bead, you can roll it, with a small spindle gouge, or at this size, you could just scrape it. It's just as well. Just get there, you know? If I rolled it for you guys, that would be fancy, and I would show you skill, but I'd probably mess it up. I'd probably have a huge catch. Because that's just my luck. Alright. There we go. Now, I'm going to address the inside at this point. I'm going to make a little hole, a little guide hole here to receive a little joker, okay? Or stuck into a piece of wood, all right? I'm going to measure to the bottom that I kind of want, and mark it with my thumb and just use my eye, and that seems to be, it's about safe right about there. I'm just going to hold my thumb there and plunge this. And also I'm going to jump down. A lot of us have heard this before. When it comes to the speed, what's the proper speed? And really, it's whatever you feel safe with, you know. And listen to your tool. Become familiar with the sound and the feel of it. There's a relationship, there's a give and take. I remember, when someone's in a wood shop, everyone knows how it's supposed to sound, you know? A lot of us have been there. And when a machine is making the wrong sound, everybody's head goes out, you know? There's a beginner somewhere. Watch out, something's going on. It's the same thing, you know, it's a relationship, it's a give and take. You're attuned to what you're doing. So, now we're going to hollow this out. And there's several ways to do that. There's different tools and people do different things. I don't use just one, I try different things. Let's see, what should we grab here? First of all, let me just take this is just a simple spindle gouge. And I can just run it like this. Just pull it sideways. This way I'm not actually cutting end grain, I'm cutting side, right? That comes out really nice. I'll do that for a little bit and then I'll try a different tool. It works pretty easy. At this point, I miss my light. You know, I have a light here, I have a bar coming over here, and on a gooseneck, and I can put it wherever I need. So I'm just going to take this down to the depth that I plunged, okay? And that's about it. So now you can finish it. You can finish this inside curve with this tool. You can turn it backwards. Turn the direction this way, and this way your tool is here, and you have pretty good control. Now, when I present this tool inside, I don't present it flat, right? A lot of us know about negative rake scrapers, right? Where you have the blade is cut like this, sharp like that, and then there's a little relief on top, and that prevents it from catching, okay? It makes it more friendly. Well, I do the same thing with tools like this. I just present it a little bit this way. It's safer. It's going to scrape for a while, you know, and just approach. You just stick it in like this, you're really asking for trouble. So, I don't know who really, right up against the wood, presents the tool exactly the way it should be right away. You know what I mean? So, I do it safe. I put it in safe, and then turn it until it's cutting the way I want it to. Cut, that's safe. Does that make sense? Cool. So, is that it? Now, for homemade tools, here we go. So, I love this tool. This is great. And I simply made it with metal that I found. metal recycle place. They, I just stop in and say, you got any stock? And they say, oh, you go in the back and look for some stock. And then I gathered a whole bunch of them. I heated this, right, so it's red hot in a vise, and simply bent it to where I wanted it, right? So I had all these pieces, and then I stopped in at a welding shop during lunchtime. And these guys would sit there around and say, hey, dudes, you know, anybody want to weld this stuff together? And I said, yeah, you know, you made an extra $20 and you welded them all together for me. So it was that simple for me. I don't know how to weld. Anyway, this is really great for getting in here and finishing that curve inside so we get a consistent wall. And when I first started making boxes, I really was concerned about the outside, you know? I wasn't too concerned about the wall thickness on the inside. I'm like, oh, no big deal. But you know, it really makes a difference. You know, it really does. I've come to understand. I passed the box around tonight. I don't know if that one's any good, but some of them have a nice consistent wall, and it just adds a lot to the elegance of this thing. It really does. Do I have another tool? Yeah, we can also use, of course, just plain scrapers to do this, right? So this is a scraper that I just found at a garage sale, and I collect those now and then. Whenever I see them, I buy an old tool. It's not great metal, whatever it is, but
Can you rest it?
I don't really care. Pardon me?
Can you rest it?
Oh yeah, sure. And what I've done with this one is give it a little bit of relief, so it's a negative rake, okay? And the reason for that is when you get to the bottom of the box, you know, it's all this end grain, and you're leaning over a bit, and wham, it lightly loves to catch. But this really lightens up that whole thing. Here I go. It wants to fight me, so I get my elbow on it, my forearm under here like this for leverage. And you can do it that way. When I'm using this tool, I like to reverse it. It's so much easier. I can see it. I don't have to lean all the way like this. It's kind of unsafe. My long hair gets caught up in there. Just blew it right past you, man. God. So you do that, okay? This is also good for cleaning up the bottom. And that's very nice for that. This is just a plain scraper. Oh, I relieved this one too, because I'm not very good at doing it without getting catches, okay? Can you see that? You know, this is a good time. I gotta do this. I noticed that this is actually very important. It's time for our selfie. Ready, everybody? Woo! Boy, we're tearing it up. We're tearing it today. Oh, man. One more, because that was bad. It's still bad, but thanks. It's a different world we live in.
That'll be on YouTube too.
That'll be on YouTube too. Can't believe it. It'd be really nice to have that little spring on this one right now, you know, for that, so I can show the wall thickness. But I gotta keep stopping. Check it out. By the way, for those who don't know, this is not carbide, it's HS, right? And you drill a hole just big enough for it to snug in there, and it's held in there with super glue, with cyanoacrylate. Is that how it's said? That stuff. That's all it is. When it's time to change it, you just heat it up and it pops out. In case you were wondering. I'm so glad this platform was here. Where are we? Let's see. How many people have this machine? I'm just curious. I have the Model A, so it's the first one, and it's time for a new one. I've used it to death. I got a little nub at the bottom, so I'm going to try to go after that with this scraper. I'm not too scared about, it's just a little piece, I'm not too scared to get my fingers in there a little bit now and then. I'm not telling you that it's okay. I'm not recommending that you do it. So that was a light cut. I'm just trying to clean it up a little bit. Make it a little bit smoother. And the wall still isn't great. Let's see. I'm making the wall thickness roughly the same thickness as this tub, okay? For what it's worth. Close enough. So this is when I have to sand the inside and clean this up a little bit. So let's see, what should we use? There's a lot of different options. I'll just use this to clean up the inside of the tongue here. Now at this point, you saw that I had some of these boxes with inserts that go in, like a little ring cup. Really, the key to doing that is just to leave yourself a ledge for that to hang on, okay? So it's not a real big mystery to it, it's just that when you're making the inside, you want to cut and leave a ledge, a little lip. And then when you make your insert, you'll consider that when you measure everything, and I'll just sit on that. Does that make sense to most of us? I'm not doing that here. But that's when I will do it. Alright, now we need to sand the inside. So, with a little piece like this, I don't really mind doing it with my fingers. But I got this at a pawn shop, right? That's where I got my tools. Half of them anyway. And real handy, right? Just wrap that in there. Depending on which way you're spinning this way. I'll wrap it around this way, and I'll go in here, and you can take care of it that way. It stays plenty safe, nice. So, and now I can kind of refine this a little bit. I don't know, for me, you know, sanding is a little part of the shaping process, actually. I mean, I don't use 80, but I start 180 is what I use to start with, typically. But if I'm not spot on with the shape, and it's just tiny adjustments, you can do it that way. It'll be safer than risking the whole thing being ruined with the catch. Alright. What grid is good enough for the inside of a box? Anybody have an opinion? Is anybody here? I don't know, for me 180 is fine. But for you guys, I'll do 220, just because I'm trying to waste time. I'm trying to make this more interesting than it is. All right, okay? Now, I'm ready. I'm done with this for now. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to take this off so I can work on the top. This is the way I do it. Not everybody does it this way.
So you just make your lip straight?
Yeah, now that's a good point. What I've done sometimes is do one way and one the other way, and I'll have like it'll snap, right? Snap on, and then it'll be like a little bit loose, but it's snapped on. It's very cool. If I did it right now, I'd mess it up. But you're right. It's a very cool thing to do. I'm just making this straight, and so it'll just be a snug fit. I hope it's a snug fit. Okay. Because I have to take this off, I'm going to mark it so that when I put it back on, it's not all wobbly. Yes, sir.
On that tool that you made, it seems to me that you do the inside with it. It seems to me like you use the outside bar simply to stabilize. Why can't you just use a single bar with a curl at the end?
Like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. This is the first one I did. And I put this big handle on it because it torques. So I figure if it's big and round, I can control it better. Yes, you can definitely do that.
So it just prevents the torque. It helps you prevent.
It just prevents the torque, which I find to be a real advantage, especially if you're turning lots of boxes or whatever. It's just a lot easier. And again, this is one of those tools where, because there's no counter torque or whatever, you don't want to put it in exactly square up. I would approach it personally negative and then come up to the cut. Okay, that's my thing. So what I need to do is mark this so that when I re-chuck it, it's in the same position. Okay? Now I can fairly safely take this off without too much worry about getting it back on. How much time we got, guys? Does anybody know?
It's 8:06.
5 minutes.
I have 5 minutes left?
45,
45 minutes left.
roughly.
Okay, good. Let's slow down.
That'd be quarter till 9,
Quarter till 9 is when I stop.
45 minutes.
Just yell at me when we're getting close. Okay. I've got to make a top. So, first thing I want to do is clean this face up a little bit. Okay. Again, you have a choice. There's several ways to do it. Let's see if I'm successful doing this. Let's see. Well, that's all I'm really concerned about. What else do I do? So, now, let's see what I'm looking for here. That's what I'm looking for. Now, it's not a perfect marking. It's a guideline, okay? That line is just a guideline for me. Again, in several ways, but I'm going to start to create the inside of the lid here. Now, I'm just going to creep up on that line. And I'm going to make sure that it's safe. I'm not going to go in straight and try to nail it. I'm going to go this way. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? So that I wind up with a wall like this, not straight, not yet anyway. Okay? Now I'm getting close to the line, to the measurement. That means it's time to measure. 20 to go. Ooh. All right. Just starting to set in there, and I'm looking for a little kind of a burnish, or even a burn, that will make a mark, you know what I mean? Just hold it really lightly there. And this is just what I personally do. I don't claim that this is the best way, but it's what I wind up doing. So now I have an idea where it is, and I'm still going to cut it negative. If you know what I mean. By negative, I mean a little bit in. Start to straighten this out. Now, this fit, I'm going to make pretty tight because it's not my final fit. I want this to, in essence, be a jam. Because I'm going to turn it around and finish the top while it's connected to the bottom. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? Yeah. Geez, I hope I didn't overcut it. I hate that. No, that's good. All right, now's the time when this is the last time I'm going to be able to approach the inside of this lid, so I'm going to clean it up a little bit. Don't go too crazy. And let's put something in there while we can for people to look at and then open it up. Here's a, what do they call it, a 3-point tool? What do they call it? Is that what they call it?
Point tool.
Go there. Right there. And I have a little tool. Now, if you can see this close, just a minute. Example. Here we go.
Just rest it on the tool right there. You want.
This is an old Forstner, from a Forstner extension, handpiece. So it spins. It's handy to have, and I don't really use it. It's just left over. And this is the bit that I had, and I ground down the top. Can you see that? So this makes a great, cheap little texture tool. And with it, I can get in here real easy and do a quick little thing like this. That's it. And tricks that people use. Well, there's not enough. But I'm not going to do that. But you can burnish it with some sawdust, and that works fine. Or just touch it really lightly like that. And that gives someone, when they look down in there, something to look at. You could put color on it, you could use a magic marker or something. You could put India ink on it and sand it off and accentuate the, the pattern, or just leave it. But now's the time to do that. So, now, this is what I do. It's a little too tight. Because the problem with this, jamming it at the top like this, is that you can actually split the top when you're cutting it. I've reversed it. I'm going to take a little slit here. Just a- Hey, that's kind of tight. That might break. Let's hope not. I usually screw up at the demonstration.
That would be on
It's my MO.
Be YouTube.
On YouTube. You keep reminding me. It's going to be on YouTube. I thought you were a nice guy. So now I'm going to wind it up with the and this should be pretty close. Nice. Nice enough. Now, I'm going to hold that for safety purposes. It's pretty damn tight, actually. That, as you can see, I'm not doing it with a hammer, right? I could probably turn it without any more, any more support. But this is really a matter of good etiquette, safety. They actually make, real ones that you can buy. Nice. This is an old one I had, and I ground the top off it, so there's no point. And this way it won't cause me a hole that, if this were small, were closer in tolerance, I might not have enough wood to get rid of that little. All I need to do is hold it on there, so I can use this blunt nose thing, and just give it a little bit of support. Make the top. And I'm looking for a spindle gouge. I have a shallow one and a deeper one. I prefer the deeper one, frankly. This is nice for when I'm making trees. You can see I have a real sharp angle on it, and I can get into tight spaces, especially when I grind some of the heel off. When I'm sharpening these, I always like to take some of the heel off. It allows me to get into the tighter spots. It sounded loose, but I know it's not. Let's fairly clean. Now an opportunity to sand that top, and I use an old DA sander. I have, the shop I used to work at, those guys order this stuff all the time, so I can get the size pretty well, pretty cheap. Lasts a bit longer than the blue ones. This makes a great passive sander. Yeah, it really takes off water pretty quick. So now is when we start thinking about any kind of ornamentation we want to do. Okay, you can put an insert in the top. Okay, it won't take much. As a matter of fact, I think we'll just pop this off and put a little turquoise in it. Why not? I have some, so. Usually I'll take the whole chuck off and just leave it chucked in there. As a matter of fact, it's easy to do. No what? Oh, here it is. Oh, really? Oh, look at that. Because first I gotta make a place to put the turquoise, right? Hey, has anybody seen Larry Fox do his turquoise show? Yeah, he's great. That's really his bag, man. He's good at it. He turned me on to the whole thing. He's down in Colorado Springs. Actually, helps me a lot. Good guy. Okay, that's all I need. Take this off. Now, one thing that a lot of people forget to do when they're doing this little bit of inlay is actually, that's the good stuff. That's what I'm looking for. I spent so many years in a spray booth. The smell of lacquer gets me excited. I said, yeah, give us some more of that. This is sanding sealer, okay? And I'm just going to put that around here a little bit. And that, why did I do that? Because that glue is going to spread out on that end grain, right? And then once that happens, it's going to stay wet. It's not going to take a stain or anything. So hopefully this will help that. One thing I like to have in the shop for finishes and things, moments just like this, is a little heater, and I'll hit that real quick. Okay? Kind of takes the time off a little bit. And so, I get turquoise. We were camping, I was coming down the pass, and there was a mineral shop. How lucky. And I walked in and we went through it real quick, because that's one of my things lately. I've started to get into rock hounding. It's kind of cool hobby. And son of a gun, there was a guy there who had raw turquoise, not stabilized, and raw stuff. And I got a bag of it. It was a bag about this big. It was $200. But I grind this stuff up and sift it. The way I do it, some people actually make a pipe and close the pipe at the bottom, and put a bar in it and crush it up. I used to do that, and that's a lot of work. And you know what? It doesn't really do a good job. For some reason, I never got good results doing that. What I do now is I just take a tote, like one of the storage totes, and I have a piece of metal. I put it in there, and I just grab some of these rocks down on it, and hit it with a hammer. Just tap it with a hammer. It goes like that. It's very simple, it's not complicated. Sometimes the answer is right there, So anyway, that makes that pretty easy. And I could actually sift this to different sizes, but yeah, I think you guys get the idea, right? So I put some big ones in. And then I'm going to put some After that, some little ones. How many people do this? Have done it, do it? Yeah. People love it, and it gives a lot more interest, you know. If you can make it, any kind of little ornamentation on the box really helps its marketability. Tap that a little bit, let it settle. Okay. I hit this with a little CA. This is thin, and it is a little bit old, but it's been kept cold, so it still works. But it's a little bit thicker than water thin. Anyway, that's what it is. Can't see a damn thing. All right. And I really need some dust to fill in there. This is part of the sifting process, right? So this is the really little stuff. Kind of fill in some of those gaps. Oh, look what I did. I have way more in it than I wanted to. It's pretty sloppy, guys. But I'm not like one of the famous demonstrators that are making you a piece that you can like auction or sell for like thousands of dollars. It's not me. I'm not that guy.
It might be after they see you on YouTube.
Yeah, after I'm I'll be famous. You know, if for nothing else, the part where I combed my hair on my chin. I don't even remember what it feels like to have it. All right, now, a lot of people will get that diamond sandpaper and waste a lot of sandpaper, money, and time. But this works great. This will waste a lot of crap quick. You know, I'm real glad you all got a kick out of that. It's nice to know you're still with me. I know. Vinny's going to demonstrate. Just wait till it happens. It'll happen. It'll happen. Just hang in there.
That's at 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 23 seconds.
You know, if I couldn't laugh at myself,
Somebody else would.
somebody else would. And they do. And they do. You know why that happened? I'll tell you why. It's because before I put the turquoise in, I usually spray it with accelerator. Then I put the turquoise in. And then I put the glue on, and it glues in at the bottom. I didn't do it that time, just so I could entertain you guys. It's all about the show, right? This is going very badly. This is very... I work like this so that when you go home, you don't feel bad about making a mistake. It's a big deal.
Professionals do.
This is fun, right? I know I'm supposed to wait. You know what I found out? Everybody like soak it with accelerator because you want it to go really quick. Everybody do that? It doesn't help, does it? All it needs is a few droplets, on there. But I still do it. Still do it. It gets hot. How many have gotten 2 fingers stuck together? Thank you so much. Thank you. And it's like, what did you do to get them apart?
Razor blade.
Razor blade. Anything else? Acetone leaves it takes all the oils out of your skin. It's white and it's ugly. You look like and it doesn't work. Did it work for you? Yeah? You must have soaked it a long time. But yeah, that supposedly is the answer. And if this doesn't work, we're just gonna blast right past this part because you all get it, right? I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna sand it, and then I'm gonna relieve it right at the joint where the turquoise meets the wood, and it looks like a cachabon. Catachon? Thank you.
That's just a mill bastion.
Yeah, it is. It's just, I don't know where it came from. It's been laying around my shop for years. Got a few of them. I tried, at one point I was doing a lot of this kind of thing, and I wound up using one of these, to knock off the rough stuff. And that dulled up pretty quick. And these are expensive. This is the last time I did that. It's good to have a wire brush, to clean this thing out. Is anybody looking forward to talking about some of the other stuff that I do, the other kind of work? Is anybody bored? Be honest. I mean, it's fun when you're doing it, but watching somebody, really, honestly, is this exciting?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Did you get the file one shot?
I think I did. At least it's not popping out. Oh, come on. Here we go. Okay, now at this point, I'm supposed to take it off again. We still got plenty of time, don't we?
8:30,
15 minutes?
or roughly, yeah.
And so now I want to fill the gaps with a little more of this juice and get it back on there and finish it up. Oh! The coffee's wearing off. Time for some more chocolate. Okay, if things are going smoothly, it really didn't take too much time, to do that. If you're going to put a piece of wood in there, fancy wood, it takes more time. That doesn't do that. Regular sandpaper? This is 180, and this brand is Hermes. I really like this paper. It outlasts everything else that I've used. Okay. Now, we can go through the grits, and this turquoise will polish up real nice. Okay, time to do a little bit of sanding here. Okay. And like I said, I can relieve that around the, my armpit didn't grab that time. Thank you, sir. My said, thank you, sir. It reminds me, I don't know why, but I'm thinking about when I was that age when people just started calling me sir. Do you remember that? Years ago. Now I'm good with it. But you know, here's another thing. When you're at 7-Eleven or something, and there's like a 17, 18-year-old girl back there, you know, she's dealing with it, and she calls you honey. Here you go, honey. You know why? Because I'm no threat anymore. That's why they call me honey. Every time they do, it's hilarious to me. I just get a real kick out of it. Now, this is a real snug fit, right? With the still glue on it. Do you care? So, it's not sanded perfectly, but you know what I was doing. Right? That is too tight. So, now I established the fit that I actually want. Okay? If I'm lucky. And that means just taking hairs off this. Just a little teeny bit. Until I get just what I want. So the first fit is the jam fit. Not too much. Not too tight because you'll snap when you cut the wood away, the lid will crack because there's too much pressure on it. That's still a little bit tight. Slide that a little bit. This is a nasty little box. It's not, there's a gouge, it's not beautiful. My concern is going through the steps, okay? I could do it, really. Okay, at this point, I would final sand it, okay? If I was going to dye it, you know, whatever kind of strange things I was going to do to burn it maybe, I would do that now. But I'm not going to do that, I'm just going to part it off. A little bit. Of course, you want to wait a little bit so it sits on the rim and doesn't wobble around. Okay, here's that. And I usually have a little chisel that I take the nub off with, okay? And then I sand the bottom with a drill and a little pad, and just kind of clean that all up a little bit. The other thing you can do, one final thing, is it's too tight. Is if you want, you can ornament the bottom, you know. And the way to do that at this point, I just leave this in here, this stuff, clean it up, and make a jam fit, and turn it around, and clean the bottom. Does that make sense to everybody? So what I would do is measure this, make a mark, do the same thing as I did before, come up to the line and make a nice snug fit, tap it in there, and do whatever I want on the bottom. And then, if it doesn't come out, you know, just cut down to this, okay, to it, but not all the way to it. Just leave a little sliver, and it'll just come right out without shooting across the shop. Okay? That's pretty much how I do my boxes. Any questions? You get a chocolate. You're my friend. Thank you. All right, so any questions? This gives us a few minutes anyway to talk a little bit about anything that I did or anything that's on the table. Question answer period. Anything?
Just drilled the holes in there?
Yeah. The holes, yeah, it's a nasty looking thing. It's just rather thick, hollow, you know, to the depth. And then the first thing I did was kind of mark out where I want, you know, where I was going to put what. It's a pretty random deal. So I plunged these holes in it at an angle, and then I saw I'd get out the die grinder with a burr on it, okay, one of the bigger burrs, and I start shaping and going for it.
And that's a reciprocal saw that you get?
And no, this is a die grinder, so it spins. Yeah. When I use these tools, I use a variac. I suppose you could use something else too, but it varies the speed. Sometimes when you're doing this and the thing is running full bore, it's like, whoa, that's way overkill. And it can catch, and you don't have control. I like this because it's long, you can get here, and you can get into tight spots, and get inside, and so it works really good for that. Yeah. Anything else?
Random holes in the
These random holes, I did that with the Weecher and a small, I did it with, you know the bit that I showed you that I made for a little texture tool? I used a bit like that with a flat bottom, and just kind of wobble it in there so it makes a flat bottom. Does that make sense? So that it's not round at the bottom.
Like an end.
Like an end, exactly, like a tiny end. Yeah, yeah. And I'll show you. Did I talk about my burner at all? I'll just show you that real quick. I know you guys are going to have a great demo about ornamentation, and I love ornamentation. It's really the good stuff. And this is what I use for that kind of thing. It's a saber. There are different brands, of course. And when I really want to get to really burn it like crazy, I plug this into the variac and turn it up just a little bit. What you got to worry about is getting shocked by that. That's more dangerous than this. That's AC, this is DC. Okay, so there's definitely a difference in lethality in that, okay? I use nichrome wire. I order it online. You can get different gauges, so you can make different kinds of tips. You can hammer it, bend it, and it's an interesting metal. There's a name for it, but the more you hit it, the harder it gets. The more you bend it, the harder it gets. There's a name for that. I don't know what it is, but that's what it does. And it's kind of interesting to me. And that's what I used for all these black dots you guys see here. And this kind of thing just started by making one, and I thought, shit, I ruined it. So, so you just keep going, until it became something that lasts. And I do a lot of that. I mean, I really do. Honestly, especially in things like this, it's real freeform, and I'll be like, that doesn't look right. I just keep going for it until I get the kind of flowing thing that I want. Thanks so much, guys, for listening to me.